Video game collections. Some video game companies hate re-releasing their old content more than their consumers, but sometimes you get blessed with a Capcom who will give you a new collection without thinking about it. There's been multiple times where I've been more excited to play someone's backlog of old shit than a new game. There's a partner showcase direct, and yeah, they're putting Nier Automata on Switch, but I'm too busy being hyped for a collection of Mega Man games from a decade and a half ago. Sure, it's more likely to get a Nintendo, who'll spit in your face and call it a collection, and that's on a good day, but every so often you'll get a Sega who can't get enough of re-releasing their games. Sega hasn't really re-released much of their Dreamcast or Saturn catalog, but inversely, every time someone in their office breathes, they release a new Genesis collection. Of course, though, with these comes a lot of re-releases of Sonic games, even a good few of Sonic Focus collections. I have a couple of these: Mega Collection, Gems Collection, Classic Collection, and Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection. I have already said collection too many times in this video, goddamn. I actually was thinking at some point of tackling a bunch of mostly Sonic-focused game collections, but this one's new and I have a good bit to say about it, so it gets the special treatment. Sonic Origins. I'm gonna be honest, I was pretty mixed about this one for a while. There was a lot going on in pre-release. Firstly, something that I really don't like, how they delisted all the original versions of the classic games on Steam 360 and PS3. Personally, I just don't like delisting as a business tactic to get you to buy remakes of games, because first off, if the originals end up being the better option, like with the GTA trilogy, then you're fucked. 2 games in the collection could be overpriced in comparison to all of them individually, which is something that happened in both GTA and Origins. And finally, let's say I only care about Sonic CD for some reason, well now I'm forced to shell out more to buy 2 other games I don't care about. Plus, I also feel like this practice shows when game companies aren't confident in the remakes being the better option. For something like Origins, I feel like even if all the original versions put together are cheaper, you should be able to convince the average consumer to buy anyway due to the new modes and bonus content provided. Delisting the originals makes it seem like they don't think the bonus stuff is worth the asking price, and to get around this, they make Origins the only option, which doesn't sit right with me. Also, another thing I didn't like from pre-release, this dumbass Ubisoft-looking chart that they put out. What's even more ridiculous is that it's actually a lot simpler than it looks. Basically, if you pre-order the deluxe version, you get everything, and the pre-order bonuses are contained in the Start Dash pack. Meanwhile, if you get the standard, all the deluxe stuff is split into these other packs. I also think some of the deluxe stuff is pretty superfluous or straight up unnecessary since you can unlock it in-game, but we'll talk more about this later. This collection is probably just made to get people who are getting into the games after being hooked by the movies up to speed, but inversely, why not also give some other Sonic games that haven't been re-released the same treatment? Maybe put in the Advance or Rush games, just something new. That way the newbies are satisfied by being able to play the games that started it all, while veterans are satisfied being able to replay games that haven't been around the block super often. That being said, I did still plan to pick it up because I buy most shit this franchise comes out with, both for myself and for review purposes, and because these are all games I have a lot of fun with. Wait a second. Yeah, these are all games I have a lot of fun with. So in the end, what do I think of the collection? I think half bad, actually. Now, I do have problems with it, but this collection is in the running for the best ways to play the classic games, and with some tweaks could be the definitive versions of these games. Before release, though, people were quick to compare this collection to a few fan projects, notably Sonic 3 Air. In my mind, an official collection or remake or whatever should be able to surpass these fan efforts to where I want to buy it in comparison to playing the much cheaper alternative. While at the same time, projects like Sonic 3 Air shouldn't be used to bash people enjoying Origins, you know? So let's start with the good and work our way down to the bad. Firstly, something that hits you as soon as you boot up. I just really like the presentation of this. You're able to see the islands of each location from the games, with some nice details on being able to see areas representing each of the levels. Bumpers floating in midair for Spring Yard, giant spires from Oil Ocean, even that damn barrel from Carnival Night. Although maybe it's just me, I thought CD came after Sonic 2 instead of before, but I guess that explains why Tails wasn't around in CD. But at the same time, that doesn't explain why we go from Metal Sonic to the inferior Silver Sonic. Whatever, I don't know. There's even two other islands. First, the mountain from Sonic Spinball for Mission Mode, that's a bit weird. And even weirder, the island from Sonic 3D Blast for the museum, which are both cool, but just makes it all the more annoying that they aren't in the collection. So, there's a lot to tackle here, so let's begin with Story Mode. This game takes you through all the games in one go, with an opening and ending cutscene for each game. These cutscenes are really cool. Part of me wishes there were more, but at the same time I wouldn't really know where it would fit in. I like how they keep the original animations from Sonic CD, but as a cool bonus, maybe they could have reanimated these and put them as an extra in the museum, but now I'm just spitballing random stuff. Either way though, all these cutscenes were a treat, and I had a big dumb smile on my face every time one of these popped up. I saw some people a little upset that you can only play as Sonic in story mode, which, yeah, I guess the option would have been nice, but at the same time, the story mode is going to be from the main character's perspective, which is Sonic, so I just kind of assumed that's how it would be. The only exception I can find to this is maybe when you play as Knuckles in Sonic 3 if they gave opening and ending animations for his side of the story, but that's really the only area where I feel like additional cutscenes would have fit in. The mission screen also has Mission Mode. In other news, the sky is blue. There's a whole slew of missions to complete for all 4 of the games, and these are a real fun time. You're able to get S ranks by completing them in fast time to get a good deal of coins, which I'll talk about in a minute. I had a real fun time going through and getting S ranks in these, and coupled with the fact that some of these missions can get pretty challenging, it was nice to have my Sonic skills actually put to the test, since that doesn't really happen much in this series. They do put a lot of blocks around though, which I get is to either beat platforms, blockades, or prevent you from wandering off, but that still doesn't stop there from being a lot of Sonic Forces jokes to be made. The coins allow you to buy content in the museum, stuff like new music tracks, artwork, and movies, and I really like this. There's some genuinely cool stuff in here. For music, there's all the tracks from the 4 games, plus some tracks from Spinball, 3D Blast, and even Knuckles Chaotix, which, god, that would have been a good game to include here, but guess not. They even have remixes of songs from the classic games, which I do have some small problems with, but we're not there yet. There's a good bunch of artwork here, there's the full box arts, and even the full manuals for each game, and all of these are in each region. You also get stuff like images from Sonic the Screensaver, concept art, and reference images for Sonic Mania Adventures, Team Sonic Racing Overdrive, Colors Ultimate Rise of the Wisps, and for this game as well. Speaking of which, the movies section, aside from having all the cutscenes in the game, also has all the episodes from Mania Adventures on top of all the animatics for them, which is neat. They even have some clips of when they played the songs from the classic games in the Sonic Symphony. Maybe this would have bumped up the file size, but it would have been cool to have the whole symphony, but whatever, it's still a nice inclusion. Another way of earning coins is through each of the game's new anniversary modes. Alright, so this is the meat of things. Each game has a classic mode and an anniversary mode. Classic mode is mostly the original experience. 4x3, lives, the basics. Anniversary mode features a 16:9 display, there's infinite lives, life monitors have been replaced with monitors that give you a coin, and you have access to the Sonic Mania drop dash for each game. Now, I'll try to restrain myself from talking about the bullshit and talk about the good deal of things I like. First off, Sonic 1, 2, and CD are based on their Christian Whitehead remakes, so they all come with the additions you'd expect if you played those, including a better frame rate for each game's special stages, making 2s actually playable now, both soundtracks and spin dash types for Sonic CD, and a fully realized version of Sonic 2's scrapped Hidden Palace level. Additionally, since Sonic 3 is late to the party, it's had some things changed to look smoother and has blue spheres running at a better frame rate. However, I'll be saving Sonic 3 for a section of its own later. In terms of infinite lives, I think this is a good thing, but for some reason I saw people getting upset at this online, which, yeah, having more options for lives is always a good thing, don't worry, we'll get there, but hating infinite lives on a base level is a bit of a stupid argument. For new players, having no lives just makes things more accessible instead of getting a game over and being booted back. For veteran players, you've probably played these games like 5 times, why the hell are you getting a game over anyway? On the note of making things accessible, you're now able to pay a coin to retry special stages. You might say it makes completing special stages too easy. I say half the special stages in this collection can go to hell. It's a good quality of life feature. I've played these games to death and still fail at the special stages in Sonic 1 and the later rounds of Blue Spheres, so I couldn't imagine how it is for new players. Again, there is at least the benefit of better frame rates to make these stages easier, especially Sonic 2, because before this the best half-pipe was in Sonic 4 Episode 2, no I'm not kidding. Maybe it costing 5 coins instead of 1 would balance things better and also inadvertently incentivize you to play mission mode for larger sums of coins, but as it is, it's a good feature in my opinion. Finally, let's clean up the extra modes. First, a whole new round of Blue Spheres, which is neat if you want to dedicate your whole second lifetime to beating them all. Second, there's Boss Rush, which I really like. It's what you expect, but I just think it's a good feature, although I wish there was a mode to marathon every boss from every game in the series. There's also Mirror Mode. It sure is. I don't know what this is for. I don't think there's many people out there who are saying, man, I love Sonic 2, I just wish I could move left more often. Lastly, there's one of my favorite additions, the online rankings. It's such a simple addition, but man, this shit is addicting to me. All it takes is trying to compete against other people online for times, and I'm there instantly. I even nabbed myself a #1 spot in Green Hill Act 3 and its Mirror Mode counterpart on Xbox. By the time the video goes up, it probably got beat already, but it made me feel accomplished, damn it. So yeah, that's that. A good deal of content I enjoy from this, but as we all know, nothing's perfect, so let's get around to the negative, starting all the way back before you even purchase the game. Remember how I'd said I'd get around to the digital deluxe content? Well, here we are. And honestly, come on, guys. It feels like I'm being wrung dry for as much money as they can squeeze out of me. So the standard edition is priced at $40, while the digital deluxe is priced at $45. Before we even jump into this, the price here feels a little inflated to me. Other game collections are priced much more fairly to me, for example the Mega Man Legacy collections. 10 games with a mission mode, museum content, all for a combined total of $35, less than the standard edition of Origins. On top of this, Namco museums are usually priced at around $20 with a good variety of arcade games. Halo the Master Chief Collection contains 6 Halo games plus all their online modes with additional online seasons of content with cosmetic items given to you for playing, same price as Origins Standard Edition, while providing more games that last longer than the games in Origins, coupled with the fact that these are original Xbox and 360 games. That's a great deal if you ask me. Do I even need to mention Crash Insane Trilogy or Spyro Reignited Trilogy? Both of them are from the ground-up remakes of the first 3 Crash and Spyro games, respectively for $40 each. You can just buy, right now, Kingdom Hearts The Story So Far, new on Square Enix's store for $40, which is like, what, 6 completely remade RPGs that will take you, like, a good deal of hours to complete individually, plus, like, 3 movies or whatever. I mean, when you compare it to Sonic Origins, it's no contest, really. All I'm saying is that Sonic Origins feels overpriced for a collection of frequently re-released games that had cheaper alternatives of buying prior to being delisted, which makes it seem like Sega knew it didn't justify the price. The content also doesn't seem like enough to justify that price either. I mean, 4 core games here, of which Sonic 1 and CD you can beat while getting the Emeralds and the Time Stones in under an hour, Sonic 2 can be beaten within an hour while getting all the Emeralds, and the only one that should run you over an hour is Sonic 3. Sure, Master Chief Collection doesn't have any museums and its only alternate game mode is online, but there's more games and it'll take you multiple hours to beat each. Namco museums mostly consist of simpler arcade games, but they usually provide a good variety and quantity of games and are priced more fairly. Kingdom Hearts' The Story So Far is basically 3 collections stitched together for an insanely affordable price. Finally, while Insane and Reignited might have less games, they are each complete overhauls of those games. Keep in mind, we haven't even gotten to the digital deluxe content, which is where even more of my pricing complaints lie. Viewing this on the Xbox Store shows how the Digital Deluxe is a bundle containing the base game, the Classic Music Pack, and the Premium Fun Pack. So let's dive into each of these packs individually. First, the Classic Music Pack, which advertises additional music tracks. Yeah, all those songs from Spinball, 3D Blast, and Chaotix, they're in this little bundle. Quite honestly, aside from the fact that these games should have been in the collection, the songs especially should have. These are songs for a music player that you can only access from the game as little bonuses, and they're trying to charge a standalone price of $4 for it. Are you fucking kidding me? Next up, the Premium Fun Pack, which has a bit more than the previous one, with extreme missions, letterbox backgrounds, bonus character animations, and, remastered tracks. Firstly, the bonus character animations. More than anything, these are the most insulting. All this is the character models hanging around the islands and having them do shit in the music player. It is insulting that they are trying to sell this off as additional DLC. Extreme missions and letterbox backgrounds are similarly insulting, considering the letterbox backgrounds are literally just more designs for the black bars and the 4:3 aspect ratio, and the hard missions are only 3 per game, and even then they couldn't commit to that since Sonic CD got gypped and only has 2 for some reason. Also, on the topic of the remastered tracks, I uninstalled the Fun Pack DLC just to figure out what songs they were, and I couldn't figure it out. Probably just because there's a lot of tracks there to begin with, so it's hard to find the probably like 10 extra this gives you. But either way, no matter what they are or what songs they add, I have the same problems with them as I would for the songs in the music pack. While we're at it, let's talk about the museum. The art and movie sections are fine, but the music section is a bit fucked for the extra tracks. Basically, all of Chaotix's soundtrack is mislabeled for some reason. You go play the song that plays when Metal Sonic scorches the earth, you're met with Door into Summer. How did they mess that one up? Also, in the tracks you pay coins for, you get remixes of songs from the classic games, but they're all labeled under Sonic Origins. I get doing stuff like that for the Smash Bros. Brawl remix of Angel Island, which is a cool addition, by the way. But then there's songs from Generations, Forces, and Team Sonic Racing that are still under Origins, and I don't know why they don't just put them under the original game. I'm gonna put some small mock-ups I made on screen here. It's a bit of a nitpick, I will admit, but it's one of those tiny things that bothers me. Oh, I'm sorry, did we get into the actual game there? My, how rude of me. Some people on PC can barely even get the game to function, you know? I should be courteous and wait for them to catch up. Why can't they play the game? I'm glad you asked, viewer in my head who asks convenient questions. That would have to do with some DRM they put in the game. Denuvo's ugly face strikes again. It struck Forces, it struck Team Sonic Racing, it even infamously struck Sonic Mania for a while there before they removed it. But they won't get rid of it for Forces, for some fucking reason. It's a problem because it causes bad performance problems, with one of the most notable examples actually being Mania, and has also been causing big problems with Origins in a similar manner. I also wager that Denuvo had something to do with the crashes on startup on PC, considering I haven't heard about crashes happening on consoles, and if shit is blowing up on PC and not on Switch, then something's gotta be up. I got the game on Xbox personally, and yeah, I haven't had that many FPS drops, and the game did crash once, but seeing as it was one time out of over 15 hours of gameplay, I'd say that's more of an outlier than anything. Also, this is completely irrelevant to Origins, but when doing research on why Denuvo sucks, I saw that the first game to use Denuvo's sister product, that being Denuvo Anti-Cheat, was Doom Eternal, and people thought it sucked shit so bad that less than a week later, they announced plans to take it out. That's hilarious. Now back to the game itself, we gotta look at options, which I think is very important for collections like this. I saw some people complaining about the image being blurry, and yeah, it's still a bit weird, but if you turn off the anti-aliasing option here, that seems to fix it mostly. And besides, I don't even know why they keep adding this option to collections like this, because people who smooth the pixels scare me. Other than that though, there's nothing that warrants much of a mention, so now we have to look at the games themselves. Here's the major theme of my problems with Origins: lack of options concerning gameplay. Remember how I said Anniversary Mode added the drop dash? Well yeah, if you play in Anniversary Mode you can't turn it off, which is really dumb. I want to play in 16:9 because it looks nice, but I also want to have the original movement options. Couldn't we have an option to toggle the drop dash on or off? Furthermore, no matter if you play Anniversary or Classic, you always have the spin dash in Sonic 1. This one bothers me a bit more just because Sonic 1 was very much designed for you to have to earn your momentum, so having an instant momentum button kind of breaks things. Again, on-off switches, please use them more often. And the final cherry on the cake of no options, Anniversary Mode has infinite lives, and Classic Mode has limited lives. Again, you can't play in widescreen with lives, or 4x3 with no lives. And yeah, if I go back to these games, I am going to play with the infinite lives, but still more options is always a good thing. Finally, there's some options that aren't as obvious, but I would have liked for them to be added, and this concerns Sonic 1. Firstly, they kept in the codes for level select and debug mode, which is cool, happy they did that. But if you go into debug mode for Sonic 1, you can summon in monitors for elemental shields and supersonic. It would have been cool to, again, toggle if the elemental shields appear in 1, 2, and CD, and if you can get supersonic in 1 and CD. It's small features like this that I think would have made for cool additions in my opinion. That's it for Sonic 1, so moving on to CD, this is a personal annoyance, but CD has its own options menu for changing what spin dash you use and what soundtrack is playing, and I would have preferred if these were moved to the main options screen. Plus, the soundtrack changing area still has the same arrows for you to scroll since this menu was lifted from the 2011 remake. Unfortunately, CD loses out on the 4 save slots that were present in the 2011 remake, and honestly, if they were going to do that, I would have preferred if they just reused the menus from the 2011 version, which also goes for 1 and 2, by the way, since without them, you instead get this weird menu where you just pick a character and the save slot is tied to the character you're playing as, which is really dumb. Also, speaking of losing out, for some unknown reason you can't play as Knuckles in CD and only CD. I don't get this. If you're able to throw Knuckles in Sonic 1, what makes CD so problematic that he can't show up? This is majorly disappointing since with the optional exploration for robot generators, I think gliding and climbing around with Knuckles would have worked wonderfully for CD, but no, which is a damn shame. Also, I know we're supposed to be on negatives, but I figure I mention this now. The unlockables of DA Garden, Visual Mode, Stage Select, and Sound Test from the 2011 remake are all here and unlocked in the same way, through getting low enough times in the time attack, which I'm happy they kept. Onwards to Sonic 2, and honestly I only have one problem that also sometimes applies to Sonic 3, but it happened more often here. Tails isn't as eager to fly back to you when he's off-screen as in the original, so a lot of the time you can hear him jumping around constantly, and after so many times of hearing the jump sound effect, you start to lose it. Other than that though, I didn't have any problems with Sonic 2 actually. Also, I noticed for Sonic 2 and 3, you can get Tails to fly by hitting up and jumping mid-air, which lets you influence him carrying you a lot easier. I imagine this was probably in the Sonic 2 mobile port, but I can't remember if it was in the original version of Sonic 3 or not. Either way, it's a cool feature. Speaking of which, Sonic 3, this one's getting its own segment. While Sonic 1, 2, and CD got the remake treatment a while back, this is the first time Sonic 3 is being redone, and coupled with the fact that this is my favorite of the Genesis games, I was really interested to see how this played out. The consensus? Well, it improves on a lot, but it's probably the weakest out of the 4, which is a shame. So to start out, as with all the games, it's just nice to have this in widescreen. That means more to me than it probably should. Also, unlike the save systems from the other game's mobile ports, Sonic 3 keeps intact the save files from the original game, which is a good thing. In the opening cutscene, you might notice Knuckles does this little fighting stance when he uppercuts you, and if you're not psychotic like I am, yeah, he didn't do that in the original. Sonic 3 had some additional sprites and animation for random things, just a few I noticed. You stop to look at the robot come down in the midpoint for Angel Island Act 1, the character's now running a circle when going down these spirals in Marble Garden, there's sprites for looking up and down for the Barrel and Carnival Night, which is cool because it makes it a bit more obvious on what you gotta do, and the characters look up when the snow falls on them at the start of Ice Cap. On top of that, Super Sonic got a whole hell of a lot of new sprites, mainly to avoid that thing in the original versions of Sonic 2 and 3 where random sprites had Super Sonic just look like a yellow normal Sonic. Off the top of my head, the circles in Marble Garden and Lava Reef got some, the Barrel and Carnival Night plus the new sprites for looking up and down, grabbing onto objects like flying with tails and the hooks and flying battery, and basically any level gimmick and launch base all have new sprites now. This is a really cool display of attention to detail, and on top of that, when you beat Launch Base, you see the Death Egg crash into Angel Island just like in the opening of when you play Sonic and Knuckles on its own. It's really neat, but what's even cooler than that is that you go back to the main menu, and the island has the death egg on it now, which is genuinely awesome. And on top of that, it changes a second time where it's seeing floating when you get the good ending with all the emeralds. That's so cool. That being said, I'm confused on why Supersonic got new sprites in 3 and yet didn't in 2, where a couple would have been nice. Also, in regards to presentation, the audio is noticeably lower than the other games. I go into Sonic 3 and have to turn my TV volume up high, then when I go back to the main menu, I get jump scared. Oh yeah, in regards to audio, Sonic 3 has one of my favorite soundtracks in the 16-bit era, but you wouldn't know that playing Origins. Okay, that's a bit dramatic, it's only like 4 tracks, but those 4 tracks really got a raw deal here. Carnival Night, Ice Cap, Launch Base, and the Supersonic theme all had their music swapped out for the prototype versions, which wouldn't be a problem if they weren't redone and now all sound shittier than the originals for some reason. Ice Cap doesn't sound too much worse than its original, but man, Carnival Night, holy shit. I'll throw a little comparison in here because Carnival Night Act 2 is the most egregious rework of them all. Now, I've never heard music that was depressed before, but that was some very depressed music. I wonder why they even bothered reworking them instead of just playing in the original prototype tracks, because all these sound comparable to some tracks from Sonic 4. Hell, some Sonic 4 tracks I'd say I actually prefer. Also, while we're talking about music, for some unknown reason, the music in Blue Spheres doesn't speed up as the level speeds up, which is a bit of a nitpick, but it really annoys me, damn it. Also, as a few small notes, now at the end of Launch Base you actually fight Big Arm, which was for some reason absent in the original if you were playing 3 and Knuckles. And additionally, the boss of Flying Battery Act 2 for Knuckles has an Egg Robo sprite for the battle, where in the original it was still Eggman. And now for the big thing I've seen floating around on Twitter when the game came out, glitches. From what I can assume, the new glitches probably have something to do with the fact that these games aren't being emulated and were instead remade in the retro engine with 3D objects like the islands in the main menu using the Hedgehog engine too, which caused some files from Sonic Frontiers to be kept in the game and spread online as soon as the game came out, which is funny as shit. Although that's also just what I heard and what it seems like to me. I don't claim to be super knowledgeable on game engine discussions, so please correct me if I'm wrong. I was lucky enough to not run into too many problems when playing the game, although some slopes in Sonic 3 could be a little funky. I did encounter 3 minor bugs and 1 major one. For the 3 minor ones, first when I was going through Angel Island for an achievement, and speaking of which, the achievement for destroying the Rhino bots is finicky as hell. One of these bridges was acting as if it already collapsed despite the sprite still being there. Secondly, I was doing one of the challenges for Sonic CD and clipped into this wall, not sure what happened here. And finally, when I was playing on my own time, I got through Carnival Night, and I guess when I went Super, I went a little too fast because the screen didn't lock and I was able to hit the animal capsule without fighting the boss. To my surprise, it actually moved me onto Ice Cap without having to get into the cannon, so yeah, that was interesting. The major glitch, though? God damn it. So, I got all the Super Emeralds on my playthrough of Sonic 3 in Story Mode, played around with Hypersonic a bit in Sandopolis and Lava Reef, but by the end of Lava Reef Act 2, I noticed I can't go Hyper anymore. Come Hidden Palace, the altar where the Super Emerald should be is empty. I beat the Death Egg, and no good ending. Fantastic. I wish you could have seen the look on my face. I was completely dumbfounded, but it continues, actually. I was playing through Sonic 3 again on my own time, because I was actually having fun, gonna be honest, and it happened again, so out of curiosity I looked around for a big ring, and was transported to the first special stage. I exited out, and for some reason I had no emeralds, period, except for the second yellow emerald for some reason. I wish I had this stuff recorded, because it was surreal. Thankfully, exiting back to the title screen and reloading my save file gave me back my Super Emeralds, but still, what the hell happened? I think it has something to do with entering a bonus stage from a checkpoint when you already have all the emeralds collected, because both times it happened it was right after I entered one of these, but still, probably should get that sorted out. Oh yeah, and on my second playthrough I encountered another glitch at the end of Lava Reef where the screen didn't scroll before the boss, so great. It's just a few glitches here and there, and most of them didn't matter much, but it makes things feel unpolished and like the game could have used some additional testing before being sent out. It feels rushed, which isn't just me talking, it's basically confirmed through a series of tweets made by Stealth, a developer at Headcanon who helped make Sonic 1 and 2's mobile ports. Reportedly, there were more glitches in the release version than the one submitted to Sega, and some people even allege there might have been crunch, but don't take my word on that. This game could heavily use a patch, and I'm kinda mixed on that because usually I just prefer if the games didn't come out with all these problems, and if the game comes out with a lot of issues, then that's a blow against its quality if you ask me. That being said though, it will give them a chance to improve on this game by a lot, especially considering that things like additional options and removing some glitches could be easily fixed. To compare it to Sonic Colors Ultimate, since that was another semi-recent re-release, that game I still had fun with, because at the end of the day, Colors is a fun game, but it always seemed like there was some annoying problem challenging how much I was having fun. Meanwhile, Sonic Origins was something I was still having fun with in spite of its problems. I might have spent over like half of this script writing about the problems of this game, but I do hold true to what I said at the start. It's a pretty good collection, and I can say with confidence that when I was playing through the game, I was enjoying myself. It's just a lot of small problems that stack up and creep up on you. Plus, in this type of scenario, it's a little easier to go off on all the negatives than the pros, seeing as all the good stuff that isn't new content is just business as usual, and I'm saving an actual discussion on the classic games for another day, so apologies if it seems like my final verdict being positive doesn't line up with me complaining a bunch. If you want to check out Origins, I'd say wait a bit, as I'd wager by that point they have put out a patch to fix some stuff, and next year's Steam Summer Sale is going to have the game be at like half off, I imagine, happening for Forces, and I'd say $20 isn't a terrible price. I'd even say it's what the game should have released at. With that, I hope you enjoyed the video, take care, and I will see you all later.